So I am very glad to be here together, though I always find that the Yizkor of Passover I find to be in a lot of ways the most difficult. The Yizkor of Yom Kippur is who's not in shul. The Yizkor of Passover, though, is who's not at home. And I know there are a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings, and that's why I'm very glad that we're able to be here together. On the second night of Passover, we begin counting the Omer. You may not remember, it's usually around the fourth glass of wine. It only called for two, but depending on who your relatives were, it may have been four at that point. And the counting of the Omer used to be a very happy time. The Omer stood for the fact that the grain came in, that there would be enough to eat. It was specifically the barley offering. Barley is a really, really hardy grain. It grows in pretty much all conditions. And so if the barley came in, you knew you were going to be okay. It was also the counting up to the Torah, which should have been a very happy time as well. But it turned into a time of mourning. Right, the time of the counting of the Omer, at least through Lag BaOmer, and for some people all the way to Shavuot, people observe laws of mourning. They don't have weddings during this time, which, by the way, really compresses the schedule. If you can't have the weddings the 3 weeks before Tisha B'Av, and you can't have them the 7 weeks after Passover, and Shabbos is over at like 2 a.m, when are you supposed to get married? No, really, when? It's been a problem. We'll solve that one later, but it turned into this very strange time of mourning. People don't listen to instrumental music. People don't shave. It's like sitting Shiva for 7 weeks every year. And the origins of it, though, are I find very powerful. It goes back to the time of the Talmud of Rabbi Akiva, and this was a time of great turmoil in the Jewish world. It was under Roman occupation. There were a lot of splits in the Jewish world of trying to figure out how do you handle this enemy. And it says that during this time between Passover and Shavuot, 12,000 pairs of Akiva students die. 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva die. It doesn't say they were killed. It says they died. And the answer that the Talmud comes up with says that they died because they couldn't give respect to each other. They couldn't look out for each other. They couldn't protect each other. You had one half calling the other half self-hating Jews, and the other half calling the other half religious fanatics. And they couldn't look out for each other. They couldn't see past that hatred. And they died. We don't know what they died from. We don't know if it was physically, spiritually, but they're gone. And we don't know a single one of their names. Right? There were 24,000 students. And because they couldn't show respect to each other, because they couldn't see that the other person had a way of looking at the world that at least came from their own heart and soul, but again calling the other self-hating Jews and the others religious fanatics, they disappear into history. They are utterly and completely irrelevant to the Jewish future. And Rabbi Akiva, though, starts again. And his students are Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. 5. He starts over with 5 students, and they changed the Jewish world. They are why we are still here today, because they learned from each other, they respected each other, they stood with each other in the worst of times. And those 5 made it possible for us to be here today. And I think there's a very powerful message about why Rabbi Akiva's original students were lost during this specific time period. It's because each thought that Torah that they were going to receive, they were the ones who owned the Torah. That they were the ones who had a say about what Judaism really is, what it means to be a Jew. And they were wrong. Because according to our tradition, every Jew who ever lived, whether you were born Jewish or whether you embraced Judaism later, every single one of us received the Torah ourselves. No one got a different version of the Torah. No one got the deluxe version. You might completely disagree with how another Jewish person approaches Judaism, but you don't get a say in it. I don't get a say in it. I may not like it, but it's possible that the other person is right, or that the other person has something to share that we're missing. And this is very uncomfortable because we love being right. I love being right. Thank God I'm right all the time. Except when I'm not. Judaism doesn't ask us to be right. Judaism asks us to make things right, to make things better, to see the world in a more expansive way, to see the possibility. And it saddens me so much to see how Jews in the world now are talking about each other's politics, about each other's Judaism, the denominational differences. Those differences we should be celebrating. I love the fact that we have multiple denominations. There are some denominations I feel more comfortable with than others. And there are going to be different ones. The ones we should be most concerned about are the people who don't care. And one of the reasons they don't care is because we've made them not care. We have said you're either Jewish this way or you're not in at all. You think about being part of the people in this way or you can't be part of it. And they said, okay, we're not going to be part of it. Instead of asking ourselves, why did they not feel connected? What did we do to make people not feel connected? We just blame them and we say they don't care. They care. They care a lot. But they want to be brought in a way that honors their way of looking at the world, even if we don't get it, even if we don't agree. Now, we can disagree a lot on how people express themselves. We can disagree a lot on how, let's say, the violence with which people express themselves. But to say that some are in and some are out, we don't have the right to do that. Right? The Torah tells us there's one judge and we ain't it. Our job is to make things right, to make people feel that they belong for who they are and not asking them just to fit into what our vision of Judaism is. During this time of mourning and loss, the mystics looked at the Jewish calendar during Pesach and Shavuot as a way of bringing balance and harmony into the world. They saw the counting of the Omer as an opportunity every day to reflect, how can we balance out our emotions? How can we find a way to connect to other people? And so they assigned each week a different aspect of God, and each day a different aspect of God. And I'll give you an example for today. Today we are beginning the week of Gevurah, the week of strength, of when we use our power to do the right thing. But today is the day of Chesed. Today is the day of kindness. And it's where we try to think about, how do we use our strength and our power not to defeat others, but to bring kindness in the world, so maybe there are fewer enemies that we need to fight. The first set of Rabbi Akiva's students, again, they're nameless, they're lost to history. It's because they could not show respect to each other. They could not share concern, and they stood by when the others suffered and said they deserved it. Again, we don't know their names, and they're lost to history. But Rabbi Akiva's 5 students, whose names we have, they stood with each other, they stood for each other, they stood by each other in the worst of times, and we remember them. Yizkor is about, how are we going to be remembered? And if you live with hate in your heart, and if you live with judgment against others, and if you say, I am right and everyone who disagrees with me is wrong, no one's going to remember you. You will be lost to history. There might be a picture of you somewhere on some wall, and someone will go, who's that? And you're like, I don't know. But if you live with kindness, if you live with openness, if you live with the discomfort of saying, maybe the other person has something to teach me, because that is not easy. But if you do that with that kind of openness, not only will you be remembered, but generation after generation of our people will be here to remember that too. So Chag Sameach, and may we all be remembered for good.